Alright, so like I said in my first video, I'm just rocking and rolling right now, trying to get through all three of these episodes today, because, again, like I said in my first video, it's a lot. Three episodes that are almost an hour long. So, let's not dilly-dally. Let's get on with Andor, Season 2, Episode 5, which is entitled, I Have Friends Everywhere. Lots of moving and shaking going on in this episode. Cassian is sent to Gorman to try and help the rebels that are in Gorman kind of get better at their craft. Meanwhile, Cyril is going back to Coruscant to report all of his dealings and findings, not only to Dedra but also to Partagaz. Luthen realizes that he is starting to slip a little bit in his spycraft and is going to have to make some drastic changes. And probably the most focused on storyline in this episode, from my perspective anyway, Willman is trying to teach Pluty, I believe was his name, and trying to unlock a combination. And once he teaches Pluty how to do that, he might get killed. So let's break all these down. I just love the fact that Cyril and Cassian swap places. that's as simple as it can be. Is that they just swap places like ships passing in the night. Like they were so close to each other and yet so far apart. Because, of course, Cyril would very much like to get his hands on Cassian, considering what happened during the events of last season. And I also love the fact that Cassian and much of the rebels in this are able to switch up their language so cleanly. Like, it's mainly in the Cassian storyline where it's like you see the clear shift in them switching between, like, pleasant small talk and then like actual like deep rebel activity communications. And they do that when like nobody's around or they're certain that there's not going to be a bug. And Cyril's workplace actually had a bug in it, and that's why the ISB came in and ransacked the office early on in the episode. But Cyril was also able to get all of all of the pathways, all the transfer areas, like all the shipping routes and stuff like that, handed down to the rebels that he made contact with in the first episode, and he, of course, reported all of that to Partagaz and Dedra. And I love the fact that when he came home to Coruscant, Dedra had him followed to make sure that nobody was around him and nobody could get to him. It's like, you can see that their relationship is at some points rocky because, Cyril is like, wait, you had me followed? It's like, you don't trust me? Well, that's what I'm assuming he's thinking in his mind. And then when he goes into his briefing with Partagaz and Dedra, like, as soon as Partagaz leaves, he's like, is it okay to say this is the greatest day in my life, or is this going to ruin everything? And Dedra's like, no, it's good to see you happy. Mm-hmm. And then when he's with his mom, he's over it. He's completely done with. Also, something that happened in this episode, Bix was visited by Luthen, and it was very interesting to see these two interact, because we hadn't really seen that since maybe early on in season 1, and then nothing in terms of interaction between these two characters. So it was really interesting to see this combination again and after so long. And basically Luthen says, like, you have to remain strong, he's going to come back. And I love Bix's line that she said earlier on. It's like, you're either underestimating me or I'm underestimating you or overestimating you, to the brief of that. And I love their exchange in this episode. Luthen figures out from Clea, his assistant at his shop, that Davos Skolden, some of his artifacts on display are a bit forged, and they are having all of them removed and re-examined and recertified, and they might be able to find that bug in that office. So it seems like in the last episode, Clea and Luthen are going to try and remove that bug from the scene, and Luthen says, "And what if we can't?" And then Clea says, "Then we got to be prepared." But my favorite storyline in this episode is Wilman teaching Pluti how to basically solve a really complex, what I'm going to call a combination lock. And Pluti's like, "How do you know all the different variations? Like, I'm picking this up, and it's hard to keep them separated in my mind." And I'm reminded immediately of, when I was in school and I had to learn all these formulas for like my physics or my math class. And math wasn't so difficult on me, but physics, that was a completely different can of worms. But I love that interaction. And Pluti goes over to Saw, and Saw's like, you know them all? He's like, "Yeah, roughly, but I need to know where we're going." And he tells him the location, and as soon as they're about to go, Saw shoots Pluti in the head, and then we realize, before Saw points it out, that Pluti had been recording information and sending it out to the Empire. And so they leave their base, torch everything that they don't need, and they go and unlock a, he said Rhydo, so I'm assuming that's short for Rhydonium, maybe. But, I love Saw's speech in this, where the short of it is, revolutions aren't meant for the sane, they're meant for the insane. And he basically says, "I'm insane," which I think we can all piece together pretty easily. And then Wilman removes his mask and just breathes in all that Rhydo, and I'm assuming also turns a bit crazy from it. And I absolutely love, because I'm pretty sure that we're probably not going to see Wilman again after this arc. I have to make an assumption. Or if we do, he'll just be crazy like Saw is. But yeah, I really loved this episode. Again, setting up all the bits and pieces before, I'm assuming, they're all eventually toppled down in this final episode. So I'm gonna hit stop, and I'm going to watch this final episode, and I'll report back to you guys on what I think of it. But until then, guys, be safe, and I'll catch you next time.